Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the July 9th, 2025 meeting of the Fond du Lac City Council. Our first item of business is roll call done electronically. I'll declare quorum is present with Ms. Brault absent. The next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, which is followed by a moment of silent reflection. Please rise at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our agenda is public hearings, and we have none, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda, which finalizes the proposed actions for the meeting. Consent agenda item A is June 25th, 2025 minutes, and B, the list of claims dated July the 2nd, 2025. Is there any discussion or corrections to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Godfrey. Second by Mr. Mullen. Thank you both. Any further discussion? Please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Next on our agenda is audience comments, agenda and non-agenda items. The presiding officer will limit the speaking time on the non-agenda items to 1 minute and those items noticed on our agenda to 5 minutes this evening. Ms. Hefter, do we have anyone wishing to speak?
We do. We have a couple.
All right. We're going to start tonight with our agenda item, folks, first. So if I could have Jeff Krantz, please, move forward. He's going to speak on the Resolution 9193, which is the mountain bike trail.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Jeff Krantz. I'm a lifelong cyclist, property director for local YMCA, and head coach of the Fond du Lac Youth Composite NICA team. Not only head coach to the team, but also father to one of its riders. The trail we are talking about tonight at Lakeside West, I believe, would be a huge benefit to the community in general. What has been proposed would be open to the public year-round with no gates, fences, or closed days. This is an excellent opportunity to utilize a parcel of land which otherwise sees little to no use, from trail riding in the spring, summer, and fall to fat biking and snowshoeing in the winter. Our group is looking to create and maintain the proposed trail completely on our own, meaning that we are not asking for any financial help or labor provided by the Parks or the C&M division of the City of Fond du Lac. We have a large group of volunteers willing to get the work done. A group has even reached out to help finance signage for this project. The trail would have minimal impact to the property. As proposed, there is no need for any material movement, no need for heavy equipment. All we would use are some hand tools and some sweat equity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krantz. Appreciate your time this evening. Up next, we have Alyssa Hallgren, who also wishes to speak on the resolution for the Lakeside West Trail.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Alyssa Hallgren. I'm a local resident, mountain biker, and one of the owners of Fond du Lac Cyclery. I am also the team director and one of the coaches for the Fond du Lac Youth Cycling Composite Team with the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, or NICA. And most importantly, I'm a mom to a young daughter who I hope will grow up with access to healthy outdoor outlets in our community. I'm here tonight to express my strong support for building single-track mountain bike trails at Lakeside Park West. As a quick note, the NICA team that will be referred to throughout this statement is a 6th through 12th grade co-ed mountain bike team serving youth throughout the greater Fond du Lac County area. Our team is in our 2nd year and is one of over 100 teams across the state. We practice twice a week and have the opportunity to compete across the state. The focus of NICA is to build strong minds, bodies, character, and communities through cycling. NICA aims to empower youth by providing positive and inclusive environment where they can develop physically, mentally, and socially through participation in interscholastic mountain bike programs. First and foremost, we are not asking for any financial support or staffing from the city. This project is being proposed by a dedicated group of volunteers who are ready to plan, build, and maintain these trails using private resources, community labor, and best practices that are environmentally sound and sustainable. This includes coaches and youth from the NICA team whose activities would be fully covered under NICA insurance during practices and scheduled team trail maintenance events, as well as other community-focused individuals who have expressed interest in helping make this happen. We have greatly enjoyed working with Paul DeVries and John Redman in early developmental stages of this project and look forward to continued partnership should this be approved. Lakeside Park West presents a unique opportunity. The space in question is largely underutilized due to its terrain and layout, terrain that ironically is perfect for mountain biking and trail-based recreation. With careful trail design, we can activate this land in a way that is minimally invasive, respects wildlife, preserves natural beauty, does not detract from the experience of those who use that area for walking, and creates no barriers, no fences, no gates, no fees, just open trails accessible to everyone. These trails will serve our whole community. Mountain biking truly is an all-ages sport, but it's especially impactful for teenagers. We're seeing a growing number of young people drawn to the physical and mental challenges of riding, kids who otherwise might struggle to find positive, structured outlets. Through our NICA team, we're building not just skills, but character, resilience, and community. Having trails right here in town will help us grow that mission. These trails would also provide great opportunity for younger riders, such as my daughter, to get an early start on developing skills to enjoy a positive lifelong activity, and will allow local residents an opportunity to ride their mountain bikes without having to hop in the car, making it more accessible to folks after a long workday or for those without access to a vehicle. It's also worth noting that the closest single-track trails are 30 to 40-minute drives away. Fond du Lac is a cycling-friendly city. We have the Loop Trail as well as the Mascoutin and Wild Goose trails, but we lack a mountain bike trail system that supports progression and variety. These trails would connect directly to the Loop via the pedestrian bridge, increase bike access without requiring car travel, and adding value to this existing Fond du Lac gem. Even better, these trails would be year-round assets. In the winter, they can be groomed for fat biking, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing, providing residents with healthy outdoor activity even in the coldest months. Our team and our community stand ready to make this happen. We just need your support in granting access to this land, and we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Holgren. Appreciate your time. And we also want to read into the record that Corey Bruno and family have been a proponent to this as well, that they sent in a non-attendance public participation form. And now we're going to move on to our non-agenda items, which is Laura DeGollier at 289 West 14th. She wishes to speak on the North Main Street progress.
Thank you, Vice President Eisler. At the first meeting in November 2024, Councilmember Tom Schuessler brought to the council's attention on the council's agenda that no action had been apparent on the North Main Street Corridor long-term vision plan. Could information please be provided as to the progress? The plans designed by a consultant with input from citizens via a survey on the internet and at least one public meeting should not be allowed to gather dust. A repeat of the request for information was made in January, March, and May, with no information forthcoming. Parkwatch members participated in the survey. Parkwatch members attended the public meeting. Parkwatch members, as well as all citizens, deserve an update on what has transpired with this plan. After 8 months, this can only be considered disrespectful to the councilor and the citizens of this city. Therefore, I'm filing a Freedom of Information request for this information tomorrow morning. The information will be made public upon receipt. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Gollier. Appreciate your time. And with that, I believe that ends our audience comments this evening. So with that, we'll move on to our action items. And action item A is the late Class B liquor license renewal for Fond du Lac, or for Liquor Outlet Fond du Lac, Inc. And Ms. Hefter has the introduction for us.
Thank you, Vice President Heisler. The renewal application for Rare Fine Wine, Spirits, and Cigar at 661 West Johnson Street will close out this renewal cycle. All alcohol licenses will now be good until June 30th of 2026. City staff recommends approval of this renewal license.
Thank you, Ms. Hefter. Any questions from council for Ms. Hefter? Seeing no questions, I'll entertain a motion at this time. Motion by Mr. Mullen. Second by Mr. Godfrey. Thank you both. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. And with that, we'll move on to action item B, which is resolution 9191, a resolution making a reappointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. And with that, the introduction is by our city manager, Mr. Moore.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm renominating Dr. Nevins Holmes and would ask your support. She is re-upping.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Moore? Without seeing questions from council, I'll entertain a motion at this time. Motion by Mr. Godfrey. Second by Mr. Schuessler. Thank you both. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Moore. And now we're going to move on to a redevelopment authority reappointment. That's resolution 9192.
Yes, Mr. Heisler, this is a nomination for Mr. Albert Curl. He's a local mortgage banker. I think a great fit for the RDA. Recommend approval.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Moore. Any questions on this appointment for Mr. Moore? Without question, I will entertain a motion at this time. Motion by Mr. Mullen, second by Mr. Godfrey. Thank you both. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously as well. And now we're going to move on to Resolution 9193, which is a resolution authorizing staff to negotiate an agreement with Fond du Lac Youth Cycling affiliated with the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, that's NICA, to create a mountain bike trail located in Lakeside Park West. For that introduction, we go to Mr. DeVries.
Thank you, Vice President Heisler. Maggie, if you could put the map up for me, please. It was in the packet. So the resolution before you is for the city to negotiate a memorandum of understanding with this group. What that would do is lay the groundwork for some of the stipulations, what they can and can't do to make sure we're covered on the city's end. And as they mentioned, there will be no city finances or staff involved with this project. So that will be laid out in the MOU as well. Along with some floodplain considerations, being this close to the lake, there are some floodplain considerations. But considering that they are not changing any of the grade or elevation of the land, that can be put aside, but we want to make sure it's in there so that we're covered in case something would change. As it has been explained very well by Jeff and Alyssa, I don't need to go through that again, what the group is and what they're planning to do. I just would like to note also that the existing walking trail that's mowed out there is not in conflict. They'll be crossing it at a couple locations, but they will not be using that trail. So there won't be a conflict with people who like to just walk, whether it's with dogs or not, on that existing grass trail. So with this resolution, it would authorize Ms. Huffman and I to negotiate the MOU and then let the group hit the ground running. As they mentioned, John and I have worked with them, walked the site, and taken a look at what they plan to do, and we are in support of what they're doing and what they want to do with the trails and any brush clearing and things like that. So city staff is good with it, and we would recommend approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. DeVries. Any questions from council for Mr. DeVries? Let's start with Mr. Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This sounds like an exciting plan. I'm just wondering if we might see UTVs and ATVs, motorized dirt bikes, where there'll be a lot of calls to the police department, and it would put a burden on the police department.
Well, all of those are illegal to use in city parks currently. So any of that regulation, whether anybody would do that, would have to involve the police department anyway. Not aware of anything out there other than snowmobiles during the winter. We do see that in Lakeside Park West, at least the evidence of them. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot there. Motorized dirt bikes are not to be allowed, and we can probably, if something would happen, we could add some signage just to make sure it's clear. But we already have ordinances on the books that don't allow any of that use.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuessler. Up next, we're going to go to Mr. Zimmerman.
Thank you, Vice President Heisler. I do sit on the Park Board, so I just want to make a couple comments on this. It had full support from Park Board. Really, it's no risk. It's no cost to the city. If for some reason this would fail, we would just let the trail grow back over. So I see it as an added bonus to Lakeside West. Gets more people out to that side of the park. And I just want to give kudos to the group. They did a phenomenal job bringing a presentation to Park Board. If a group is going to bring something, they should be set as an example. They went so in depth and met with Paul and the whole team. So just kudos to them. And I have support for it, and Park Board did as well. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Ms. Leering.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that at first I was a little bit torn with this one because the park is so important to so many people in our community. And I'm glad that to hear that there's not going to be any permanent changes and that there's no, UTVs and ATVs out there. Also, as long as we're, you know, being careful that it's minimally invasive and environmentally friendly, I think this is a great opportunity. And I think it's good, especially for kids, because they don't have to go outside of town somewhere. They can just bike right over that bridge and go over there. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Lurie. Mr. Mullen, you're next.
Yes, I have one or two questions. Parking for the trails, are they going to use the dog parking lot, or is there going to be parking?
Probably the parking lot that's, whether it's the dog park, the trail is actually going to start south of the dog park. So the parking lot just north of the new bridge, which is in our future CIP to redo, it's just gravel and not in the best of shape right now. That's likely where most people will probably park.
There won't be any new parking areas
No.
constructed. Great. Well, I'm very much in favor of this project for the reasons that have already been stated. You know, the city's investment is nominal. We just have to write an agreement. You know, it is very low impact on the land. That land is really not used for anything else, and really can't be, because a lot of it's landfill, right? So this is great that we can use it. It's a healthy activity. It's going to be low impact. So I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Any further discussion or questions from council? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion now that we're through with the questions. Motion by Mr. Godfrey, second by Ms. Luring. Thank you both. Any further discussion at this time? Before we vote, I just want to say thanks to everybody who got this thing going. Thank you to Park Watch, thank you to Paul and his team, and also thanks to all the citizens who spoke up in support, and I just think it's a wonderful thing, and looking forward to voting yes. With that, let's vote. And that passes unanimously. Thanks, everyone. And with that, we'll move on to item E, which is ordinance number 3811, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 630, which is Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the City of Fond du Lac to remove parking restrictions on South National Avenue. Mr. Johnson, our city engineer, has this.
Thank you, Vice President Heisler. This request is to remove the existing parking restrictions along South National Avenue from Division Street to 2nd Street. This request was made by Aaron Sadoff with Marian University in order to provide additional parking spaces for the area, along with to enhance the experience at Marian University. To give you some historical background, these restrictions were put in place back in the late 80s, back in 1989, at the request of the PD for safety concerns. At the time, there was concerns about the residents trying to back out of those existing driveways onto South National Avenue, along with pedestrian traffic crossing and between cars. We currently still have those exact same concerns with removing this request. The potential for adding additional parking spots on the north end because of other regulations, you can only get about 9 spaces up on the north end, and most of them would be on the far south end. We also did a traffic analysis with traffic counters and speed counters at the end of April through mid-May. This particular stretch of South National had about 8,000 vehicles per day traversing this area with average speeds of 32 to 33 miles per hour with a speed limit of 25. So with that said, in the consideration of the traffic volume, the safety concerns, the elevated speeds in the area, and the safety to residents and pedestrians, engineering and traffic, along with advisory parking and traffic, do not support the request to remove the parking restrictions. If you have any questions, feel free to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Questions from council? I guess Mr. Johnson, as the guy who's up here running it, give me the procedural thing one more time, if you would. Because a vote yes is to approve the denial, is that correct?
I believe
Or is that not correct?
the resolution is to authorize the removal of parking restrictions. So
Correct.
To follow the recommendation would be to vote against.
that's correct.
Follow. Thank you for the clarification, both of you. Appreciate that. Okay, with that being said, without any further clarifying questions from council, I will entertain a motion at this time. We have a motion, and I need a second for that. Motion by Mr. Schuessler, second by Mr. Mullen. With that being on the table, as a reminder, the denial is to follow the recommendation. With that, please proceed to vote. And that fails due to the majority, 4-2. And with that being said, we're going to move forward with, I believe we're on to ordinance number 38, is that 3812? Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hefter. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. And an ordinance amending Chapter 400 of the Intoxicating Liquor and Fermented Malt Beverages of the Code of the City of Fond du Lac by adding off-premises sales to Class B liquor licenses. And Ms. Hoffman has that for us.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman.
President. Good evening. Just to be clear, and it's not necessarily it's not explained in our code, but in the state code, there's Class B with quotes around both, and then there's Class, quote, B. Those are two different types of licenses. Sorry. What we're talking about is the quotes around Class B, which is they could sell intoxicating liquor by the glass, okay, and along with beer by the glass. So it's, generally speaking, it's in. So the state law, when they redid all the alcohol things, they added a new twist for this type of license. Then they can now sell drinks by the glass if they are sealed, and also unopened liquor to be taken off premise, which it used to be only the Class A's could take stuff away, okay? So in order for that to be used here, we need to adopt it into our code. And we do have 2 Class B licenses that wish to sell liquor by the glass and to be taken away. So that's what we've done. We've added it. So that's the first part of the ad is saying that we're adopting the state code and now they can sell them. And then we put hours of sale restriction, and we matched the sale restriction for the Class A's, which is 9 p.m. So Class A's and the Class B, 9 p.m. The Class B can sell till midnight, and that's our current rule. So all I did was put all of the hours of sale limitations in one spot. But the only new limitation we're adding is the one for the Class B. There, how'd you like that? Way more liquor law than you wanted to know. But it went to alcohol licensing, and they recommend approval, and staff does as well.
Thanks, Ms. Hoffman. I feel like I need a diagram. That was excellent. Appreciate you. With that being said, any questions for Ms. Hoffman at this time? Mr. Mullen?
Can you give us the names of the 2 organizations? Can you mention those? I'm trying to get a feel for what those, what businesses would have.
It would be for Pump and Pantry on Pioneer, and then the new Rare Fine Spirits, because they'll have a bar in there and also a liquor store. So this will allow them to sell unopened bottles off premises.
both. Thanks for the question, Mr. Mullen. Any further questions from council on this? Mr. Schuessler, it's yours.
So the rare, what was it called, we just approved? Yeah, the rare. Is that compatible, the B and the A, the liquor store and the bar?
I mean, that's what this does. So yeah, the state law says you can do this now.
They don't have a Class A license, they have a Class B license. So it's
You
not a
said,
combination.
you said liquor store, so I thought,
Yeah.
that threw me off a little. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Schuessler. Any further questions from council? Without those questions, I'll entertain a motion. So moved by Mr. Schuessler. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Luring. Thank you both. Anything further? If not, let's proceed to vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. And I believe that closes our action items for this evening, which means my hard work is done, and now I get to turn it over for input items. Here comes Envision Greater Fond du Lac with their annual update for us. Thank you very much, Ms. Howell.
Thank you, Vice President Heisler. And thank you for allowing me some time tonight. My name is Sadie Howell, and I've had the honor of serving as the president and CEO of Envision Greater Fond du Lac for the last 5 years. Next slide. We have just completed our 3-year strategic plan and are now going to be rolling out our next 5-year strategic plan that was approved by our board of directors in January of this year. We're really centered around the 3 goals that you see on the screen, and these goals are about building a stronger, more resilient economy for all of Fond du Lac County. I also want to just share that a lot of the information of what we do day to day and about our strategic plan is through our biweekly Ally e-newsletter, our events newsletter, and our monthly economic development report that we send to all elected officials in the county monthly. Next slide. Here are just some of our team members. We have 13 full-time team members right now. Bittersweet, Tracy Coleman, who has been with Envision the last 5 years as our Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, is leaving to go back to Marian University and her roots in higher education. Next slide. I'm going to talk about the economic development side of Envision first. We define economic development as retention, entrepreneurship, workforce programming, and attraction. You'll see on the slide here, Raina Lyman, who is also here present tonight. Raina is our Senior Director of Economic Development. She was promoted late last year and has taken on our Business Retention and Expansion Program, BRE. So far this year, Raina has completed 55 BREs, and our business retention expansion keeps our pulse on the health of businesses throughout the county, ascertains expansion projects, pain points, and reports on trends. Next slide. Our entrepreneurship department, which is really also called Ignite Small Business and Startup, is headed by Zach Beesom, our Economic Development Coordinator. Those are some of the Ignite events that are held throughout the county. And so far this year, between Raina and Zach, they have met with 85 individual entrepreneurs or small businesses to offer technical assistance. Ignite Rural, which is an image on the slide, is a new program that we have created through some funding that we receive from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. 10 lucky applicants will go through a 5-week business accelerator, resulting in a pitch competition. First place will receive $30,000, and second place will receive $20,000 for their businesses. And we are accepting applications right now. Next slide. Attraction is headed up by our Vice President of Economic Development, Lisa MacArthur, who is also here in the audience tonight, as well as overseeing the Economic Development team and department. Lisa leads our attraction efforts, meaning that she meets with site selectors, developers, and works closely with New North. Lisa was part of the food manufacturing project that is going to be going into the Fox Ridge Business Park. Next slide. One opportunity that being part of New North, one representative per county was invited to present to national site selectors as part of the NFL draft. And so I had the honor of going up to Green Bay and spending 2 days there with national site selectors. And I, in 2 minutes, had to differentiate Fond du Lac County from my 18 peers. So you'll see what my slide was for those site selectors who overwhelmingly tell us over and over is what's going to set you apart is your workforce development and your talent. If you didn't know, Fond du Lac is one of the highest concentrations of engineers per capita in the United States. We are only beat by Palo Alto in California and the NASA headquarters in Florida. So that's an incredibly proud accomplishment because of some of the industry leaders you see here on the slide, along with having an incredibly strong pipeline of talent because of our higher education partnerships throughout the county on this slide. I also focused on our central location and our public-private ecosystem in order to make a project happen. And I made sure to touch base with Diane before and make sure that I had all of my facts straight. And as Diane said, that the city can take a good site to a great site, which really resonated with the site selectors. Next slide. Lastly, in our economic development department is workforce programming, which we define as working with K-12 school districts throughout Fond du Lac County. Some of the programming that we do is here on the slide, and we are the education conduit for businesses and schools. Next slide. The other side of the house is our chamber operations. As you will see, the city of Fond du Lac remains one of our champion chamber members, which we very much appreciate that investment and membership and relationship. We continue to have an agribusiness council, which is very unique and highlights our agribusinesses throughout the county, along with hosting events like Breakfast on the Farm, having ag ambassadors, which present to 15,000 elementary school students every single year to teach them about where their food comes from. We run Leadership Fond du Lac County, a 9-month immersive program that introduces future leaders to the county, industries, government, and issues. Our Young Professionals of Fond du Lac is over 20 years old and continues to be one of our really strong programs that has over 600 young professionals as part of the group, and their focus is on providing networking, social opportunities, and professional development. Next slide. Here are some of our chamber team members. Next slide. The image on the slide is a screenshot from Envision Greater Fond du Lac's website, which is also known as fdlworks.com. This is a program that we have been running for a number of years and rebranded it a couple of years ago, and we refreshed it once again. And this is a landing page that we give our employers to use as an additional talent attraction and recruitment strategy. So if you go to this webpage, you can find a job, you can post a job if you are a member of Envision, and underneath there you'll see live, play, work, learn. And those are all hyperlinks on how people can learn more about what it's like to live in Fond du Lac County and what kind of recreation and schools, things to do, cost of living, housing, and additionally our profile guide. Advocacy remains a really strong component of our chamber operations. We continue to host monthly legislative forums. This past year, we held city council and Fond du Lac School District Board candidate forums. Along with, this will be our third year of hosting POP 101, which is Public Office Preparation 101, which is a complement to our Leadership Fond du Lac County program. In January, we hosted the first of its kind Fond du Lac County Housing Forum, where we invited developers, housing developers from around the state who have not done projects in Fond du Lac County yet. So we had about 25 housing developers attend, along with municipalities in the county who had identified themselves as open to residential growth, and realtors. And throughout this event, we heard from WIDA with the H about some of the incentives and tax credits that are available for housing developments, along with hearing presentations from both the Village of Campbellsport and the City of Fond du Lac, which was provided by Diane Benson. After that, the networking portion of the event, which was really the highlight, is where we had each of those municipalities set up stations, and all of the housing developers were able to talk one-on-one with the municipal leaders. And then some of those lobbying highlights are some of the I guess, wins, maybe you could say, from the 2024-2025 legislative session, including one of Child Care Solutions, which we were really pleased to see was part of the most recently passed state budget, and what that would mean for a lot of the providers in Fond du Lac County that will continue to be able to operate. Next slide. And that is a very fast, brief update. I'm happy to answer any questions or hear any comments you have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hull. Great presentation as always. At this point, I'll take questions from council if there are some for Ms. Howell. I don't see questions, so I'm gonna give you mine. So I hope you, I've only have a couple for you. I asked this last time when you presented to us, and we appreciate the fact that you're here again doing so. Biggest challenges that you're hearing from employers as they navigate the difficulty that is workforce in 2025?
Great question. It's a little bit of a mixed bag right now. The job market as a whole in Fond du Lac County has really slowed down. What we were hearing in the last 2 to 3 years was really a desperation of finding anybody to work, and that has considerably slowed down across all industries. And from particularly the HR individuals from a lot of the companies, is that the talent pools are larger when jobs are posted, and the skills and competencies are better, for lack of a better word. And a lot of employers are either at full employment, or if they need to add employees, it's not nearly as difficult. Also, in 2024, what we were hearing a lot is that employers were holding on to employees. So even as maybe they were contracting, they had fought so hard over the last 3 years for some of their employees that even though maybe production had slowed down, they were keeping people on. Now, on the flip side, there absolutely still is a skills shortage, and that is really evident by some of the manufacturing-specific jobs that are still posted needing some kind of specific credentials. And that's something that MPTC is really great about, meeting with employers and offering credentials or upskilling programs that can help. So I would say we still have a people shortage in general, but because of the slowing of the market. Now, as we hopefully will add employers and employers continue to grow, we definitely do have to make sure that we're continuing to attract talent to this area. And that's not just through the efforts that we do, but quality of life and making sure that this is somewhere that people want to live.
Thank you very much. Great answer. Ms. Luring, I'm going to go to you next.
I just want to say thank you for bringing the focus always to childcare and housing being really important to attract people with skills to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Luring. Anything else from council for Ms. Hull? Mr. Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. On the subject of retention, other than reestablishing a partnership with the city, which is a large subject, I know, so is there anything specific that you'd like to see the city doing, that the city's not doing, that we'd hate to be ambushed by somebody else, sudden they're gone, and we didn't, oh man, if we'd have known that, we would have done this, this, and this,
Good question. I don't know if I have a great answer for you. One of the goals of our strategic plan in the next 5 years, on that first slide, was uniting public and private partners to support countywide growth. And that was something our board, the Envision board, talked a lot about, and through the interviews that we held for this strategic planning process is the whole county and municipalities aligned on what community development and economic development could look like. So I think there's opportunities to improve what our county-wide growth plan could look like, and it continues truly to be about the quality of life, amenities, and housing. This is something we hear over and over from our employers who have, I would say, not as hard of a time as attracting employees, that they have a harder time of getting those employees to live in Fond du Lac County, and specifically in the city of Fond du Lac, because there just isn't enough housing. And I know that that has absolutely been a focus of the city council and of city leadership. And so that's spot on. And then second is, the question is, what is there to do? And so I think having, the Downtown Fond du Lac Partnership has a lot of grant opportunities for some of those quality of life businesses. My suggestion would be that there's also, outside of the downtown, that also is ripe for a lot more opportunities and expansion, I guess would be my only comment.
Very helpful. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuessler. And with that, seeing no other questions, thank you, Ms. Hull, for a great presentation. Great to see you.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we'll move on to input item B, which is the first budget presentation of the year. Chief Garrettson, you are the lucky guy. Let's go.
I am so lucky. Hopefully I get all the money given to fire rescue. That'll be the end of it. Thank you, Vice President Heisler. Good evening, City Council members, division heads, and the amazing citizens of Fond du Lac. On behalf of the 74 bravest, most dedicated, and hardest working members of Fond du Lac Fire Rescue, I have this distinct honor and privilege to present our 2026 Big Beautiful Budget Overview. As you may already know, Fond du Lac Fire Rescue is one of only 308 accredited departments in the nation through the Center of Public Safety Excellence. Being accredited provides a way to evaluate our department as it compares to industry best practices and standards. We are evaluated and verified on annual performance indicators and must meet minimum standards to remain accredited. Fond du Lac Fire Rescue is up for reaccreditation this December, and we look forward to the rigorous process of certification and verification to ensure our agency continues to improve and to strive for excellence. Additionally, Fond du Lac's Public Protection Classification by the Insurance Services Offices, ISO, has ranked us a Class 1 status fire department, which is the highest classification that a fire department can receive. There are only 503 fire departments in the United States, and there are only 10 other departments in the state of Wisconsin with the Class 1 ranking. These two logos seen on your screen, although very small, are very important to our organization and the city should be extremely proud of Fire Rescue for obtaining these certifications. Yeah, that was bad. These milestones further provide evidence that your fire rescue department is a highly skilled, high-performing, and high-powered organization. Next slide, please, Maggie. Fond du Lac Fire Rescue takes responsibility for the budget earnestly, and we are fiscally accountable to the administration and, most importantly, to the citizens of Fond du Lac. We realize that the taxpayers expect the highest level of service at the lowest possible cost. Each member of our agency is dedicated to the vision and execution of cost-effective principles and practice to ensure that there are no wasteful spending within the agency's budget. Fond du Lac Fire Rescue's adopted budget for 2025 was a little over $11.7 million. Of that, just over $11.6 million is derived from the general fund, and the remainder comes from special revenue budgets. Within the general fund dollars, there are two main areas of expenditure. The first is the workforce expenses, and the second is contracted services, materials, equipment, and supplies. These expenditures for members of Fire Rescue account for about 88% of the general fund, leaving around 12% for all functions needed to operate the agency. The only change in the Fire Rescue General Fund operating expenditure for 2026 is due to the natural increases in personnel and benefit costs. For all non-personal services expenditures, we once again have prepared a 0% increase budget, which proves that we continue to do more with less budget dollars. Next slide, please. As mentioned, our workforce personnel attribute to 88% of the budget, so it's only right to put names and faces and introduce you to our incredible staff that make up the Fire Rescue family. Shown here is the Fire Rescue's command staff. You will notice a change from last year as we have 3 new members in new positions on the leadership team. Assistant Chief Jason Roberts, who previously was our division chief, is tasked with all aspects that deal with fire operations. Jason is nearly a 20-year veteran and provides a fresh and new perspective on all of our fire operations, training, and education. Assistant Chief Andy Aird holds the responsibility of managing and running our EMS division. Andy brings 15 years of experience to EMS operations and has hit the ground running, bringing new and exciting ideas to the paramedic service operations, making them more effective and efficient. Next is our Division Chief of Community Risk Reduction and Life Safety, Keith Wendt. Keith was a previous lieutenant and brings 25 years of experience and knowledge to make an impressive impact in the field of community risk reduction. He is finding new solutions to long-standing problems, as well as performing inspections, certifying alarms and suppression systems, and implementing critical fire prevention programs. Next is our office manager, Lori Mutner. Lori is an amazing asset with talents that are second to none. She continues to impress everybody that she comes in contact with and is such an important piece of the success of our department. And on a side note, Lori has a birthday tomorrow, which is a big birthday. I'm not going to say the number, but if you happen to see her, give her a happy 30th birthday. Rounding out our administrative team is our community risk reduction specialist, Rachel Vaughn. Rachel has improved and created so many programs and processes of community risk reduction that directly benefit the citizens we serve. We continue to look forward to what Rachel will bring to our risk reduction efforts in the future. This is a very, very small administrative staff, and these members work tirelessly on all the organizational practices to ensure that we provide the greatest level of service to the Fond du Lac community. Next slide, please. Fire Rescue operates a 3-platoon system, protecting the city 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Shift A is led by Battalion Chief Jim Wamser, a 30-year veteran of the fire department. Jim's expertise is not only leading a very productive shift of firefighters, paramedics, but he is also an expert in everything hazardous materials. Battalion Chief Ben Stefani leads B Shift and brings 18 years of knowledge and proficiency to our agency. Through Ben's leadership, B Shift provides excellence in service to our fine community. Last but certainly not least is C Shift. This crew is led by our 33-year veteran Battalion Chief Joe Miramonte. Joe spearheads most of our station and equipment procurement and is a leader with a vast amount of experience and knowledge to ensure that C Shift is providing the very best service possible to the citizens of Fond du Lac. Next slide, please. Shown here are the 12 members that have achieved the rank of lieutenant. Lieutenants on our agency are the first-line supervisor. They take care of the day-to-day activities like company fire inspections, daily training, as well as managing station duties, maintenance, apparatus checks, and overseeing each station's fire and paramedic companies. These officers do an incredible job to fulfill the mission and expectations the command staff lay out for them. Next slide, please. Fond du Lac Fire Rescue has 12 apparatus engineers. These members are responsible for ensuring the apparatus are always ready for service. They are also tasked with safely driving these enormous vehicles through the city streets, in addition to effectively operating the water pumps and aerial ladders. It is very evident that we have the very best and highest skilled men and women serving as our engineers in the city of Fond du Lac. Next slide, please. Shown here are the boots on the ground members that accomplish so many great things on a day-to-day basis. These members are arguably the best firefighter paramedics that you will ever encounter. As previously stated, these are the bravest and most professional fire rescue personnel in the nation, and these members make up 88% of the department budget. I would tell you this about your fire rescue family: we are extremely fortunate to have them serving on our domestic front lines and protecting our community. Next slide, please. The mission and values of an agency serve as the guiding principles that determine its purpose and its direction. The men and women I've just introduced you to embody these principles every day as they deliver the highest level of service to our community. Our mission statement, crafted by our members, for our members, is proudly displayed here. While it may be brief, it powerfully encapsulates our core purpose: to respond and to serve. This simple yet meaningful statement reflects the heart of our work and our unwavering commitment to the people we protect. Our core values further define who we are. They express our purpose, shape our beliefs, and represent the culture we uphold. These values affirm that we are a professional, highly performing agency dedicated to excellence in every action we take. Next slide. In 2024, our agency responded to a robust total of 7,789 calls for service within the community. These incidents consisted of 6,446 pre-hospital emergency medical responses and 1,343 fire-related responses. This equates to an average of more than 21 calls for service per day, demonstrating the high operational tempo and commitment of our team in meeting the needs of those we serve. Next slide. This year, I wanted to offer a slightly different perspective compared to my previous budget presentations. Through enhanced data analysis, we've been able to track the number of calls we received on a monthly, weekly, and even hourly basis. I always find it insightful to examine this data and look for patterns or emerging trends in our response activity. Displayed here are the total number of incidents we responded to broken down by month. Next slide. And then shown here is the total number of incidents that we do each day of the week. And then there's a small footnote there that you can see that the busiest time of day is the 2 p.m. hour on a Monday. Next slide. As we dive deeper into these types of incidences we respond to, there was a question raised about the number of EMS calls that result in no patient transport. Out of the approximately 6,500 paramedic responses annually, we recorded around 1,200 non-transport incidents. These responses cover a wide range of situations, from elderly individuals who have fallen and cannot get up on their own, to diabetic emergencies that are treated on scene, to administering Narcan for overdose patients. The reasons are numerous, and as you can see here in the accompanying graphic, each incident is unique. However, one thing remains consistent: we must respond when called. Our paramedics cannot make assumptions about a patient's condition until a proper on-scene assessment is made. Each response, regardless of outcome, is critical. Our community risk reduction and EMS divisions continue to collaborate with local partners to tackle root causes of many non-transport calls, especially falls in the home. These incidents are often preventable and disproportionately affect our aging population. We've worked alongside with the Aging and Disability Resource Center in recent years to deliver interventions and assistance to at-risk individuals. A fall might seem minor, but for many, it marks the beginning of a much more serious health decline. Preventing falls can A, help older adults maintain independence, B, reduce long-term health complications, and C, lower the overall call volume for emergency response. By focusing on prevention and education, we aim to keep our communities safer and healthier for the long term. Next slide, please. As mentioned in last year's presentation for 2023 and continued into 2024, the single greatest call for service on the fire side of the house remains false alarms. These incidents continue to be a key area of focus for our agency as we work towards reducing their frequency. While some false alarms are triggered by mechanical, electrical, or weather-related causes, a significant number stem from non-compliant systems, improper maintenance, or poor system design. It is the latter category, repeated false alarms at the same locations due to preventable issues, that we are actively targeting. Our Community Risk Reduction Division has taken a proactive role in addressing this challenge. They have conducted numerous visits with local businesses and organizations, building relationships and offering guidance to help mitigate false alarms occurrences. This collaborative approach has been instrumental in our ongoing efforts to enhance public safety and operational efficiency. Next slide. Talking about our upcoming capital improvements, before moving on to what was planned for the 2026 capital improvement budget, I wanted to mention a few items that last year's capital improvement budget graciously allowed us to purchase. The first was the apparatus overhead door replacement project at Station 3. Similar to the project presented in last year's budget at Station 1, this spring we were able to install identical doors and openers at Fire Station 3. With this new technology, the doors open and close at a much faster pace, saving energy costs and improving our response out of the station. The second completed CIP item for 2025 was that we were due for an ambulance within our vehicle replacement cycle. This new paramedic rig is housed at Station 1. The third, our cardiac monitors were reaching the end of life as they were 15 years old. The reliability, maintenance, and technology of these critical pieces of life-saving equipment were overdue for replacement. And as of the first quarter of this year, we have received a new complement of the latest and greatest technology for cardiac monitoring and treatment. The last item on the 2025 CIP request list was the replacement of a fire engine. We are living in an age of extended order to build times. Currently, it takes approximately 4 to 5 years from the time of order to the time of build for fire apparatus. These long order to build times have become common practice in the industry, so we need to adjust to the processes and order the vehicle in earlier years so that our replacement cycle does not get completely turned upside down. For 2026 CIP requests, Fire Rescue is planning the following capital improvement projects. As previously mentioned, to remain aligned with our vehicle replacement schedule, we will need to place an order for an additional engine with the anticipated delivery window of 2030 to 2031. We must purchase new 800 megahertz portable and mobile radios. This upgrade is essential to maintain interoperability with our law enforcement partners and to transition away from our current radio network, which is also shifting to a new frequency. We are requesting a new battalion chief vehicle that is required for replacement. It is a 2011 Suburban. This vehicle has reached the end of its optimal service life, and the newer models offer significant improved safety features and technology. While we replaced all of our mobile data computers in our apparatus 2 years ago, ITS is now recommending that the replacement of the docking stations, which are over 10 years old and nearing obsolescence. One note, I know this isn't necessarily voted on in this budget, but you can see in 2028 for future planning, Fire Rescue had engaged a third-party independent firm, as you know, to conduct a feasibility study evaluating the potential expansion of services through the addition of a fourth fire station. The study, which incorporated detailed GIS analysis and operational programming review, yielded comprehensive findings that highlighted service gaps and opportunities for improved response coverage. Next slide. As mentioned, just a short month ago, Five Bugles Design presented the findings of their response coverage and station feasibility study. Rather than rehashing the entire slide deck shared by Mr. Schmidt, I'd like to take a moment to highlight key points from the study, especially in case there are any lingering questions that have surfaced since the presentation. To briefly review, through GIS analysis, the study identified a significant gap and deficiency, not only in our theoretical response coverage, but also in our actual incident response performance. This shortfall is measured against NFPA 1710 standards, which call for a 4-minute or less travel time for the arrival of the first responding company to fire and EMS incidents at the 90th percentile. Though this slide graphics are small, they're taken directly from the study. The far left map highlights areas of the city currently underserved. The center map identifies optimal locations for improved coverage and incident response. Finally, the graphic on the far right demonstrates the substantial improvement in coverage and response times that an additional proposed force station on the city's north side. The findings of this report clearly identified a significant gap in emergency response coverage, specifically in the north central area of the city. Based on these results, the study concluded with strong supporting data that the construction of an additional satellite fire station is both necessary and strategically sound. This recommendation aims to enhance current response capabilities and to ensure sufficient public safety coverage in light of future population growth and planned development in that area of the city. As you are all aware, the full report goes on to provide more detailed recommendations, insights, and projected benefits for adding this station. Next slide, please. In summary, Fond du Lac Fire Rescue remains committed to fiscally responsible, ensuring that all city-provided funds are utilized to their fullest potential. Through ongoing risk analysis and self-assessment, we continuously seek improvement and accountability by incorporating community engagement and measurable performance standards. Above all, we are dedicated to delivering the highest level of service to the citizens of Fond du Lac, guided by our core mission and sustained by the resources and trust the community we proudly serve. Next slide. In closing, on behalf of the 74 bravest, hardest working, and most dedicated individuals, I'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to City Manager Joe Moore, Finance Director Tricia Davey, City staff, the City Council, and the entire City of Fond du Lac for your continued trust and support. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to provide emergency services to this amazing community, a community we truly love and are honored to serve. Thank you, and I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chief. Great presentation. We're going to start our questions tonight with Mr. Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I think I'm repeating myself from other presentations, but how do you get did somebody retire and not get replaced? How do you have a zero increase when costs are going up?
So the zero increase in our personnel budget moves up, but our zero increase in our operational budget.
Okay.
So buying equipment, paying for services, contracted services, things of that nature. That stays at a zero, but our personnel costs will go up.
In the normal way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Other questions for Chief from Council? Mr. Mullen?
I just had one. On the false alarm fees,
Mm-hmm.
they went up substantially this year,
Yep.
but looking at the 2024 total and year-to-date, I'm surprised the number did not come down more.
Yeah, the number has slightly come down, but as I stated, our community risk reduction division chief has really made a lot more contacts with these businesses. In fact, year to date, he's made 48 different contacts with different businesses through the community, specifically discussing false alarms. So our outreach has really increased, so we're hopeful through compliance of the items that our division chief has discussed with these businesses that I'm hoping next year we'll actually see that reduction.
Yeah, I think if I owned a business and got a $1,000 fine for false alarm, I'd fix my system.
Yeah, and obviously that was an issue. All the businesses that have received those have obviously wanted to talk about that. So, which is good. We're getting to the root of the problem. If we just ignored it, then we'd be sitting right where we are, last year.
Did perhaps businesses not realize that those fees had gone up or were going up?
Yeah, I don't think they did realize, and actually we sent them a letter after their first alarm, just so they knew that they were going up. But I think in years past, the fees were so small that they didn't care. They didn't.
Doing business.
Right. They're just like, well, we'll just, yeah, yep. It's cheaper to pay that small fine, or not fine, but that small fee than it is to fix the system. Now it's different.
All right, well, very good, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Seeing nothing else from council, I just want to add in, Chief, thank you for the data breakdown. That was really helpful to be able to break that down month by month. And also, I found the medical data to be particularly interesting. I hope that our community finds that interesting as well, because there is so much that the men and women of your department deal with that I don't think that most people in our community even realize. So thank you guys for all you do, and appreciate a great budget presentation.
Thank you.
And with that, I believe that closes our input items. So at this point, we are going to adjourn to closed session, conferring with legal counsel is the reason for this, regarding a possible litigation and/or discussion of possible properties becoming a focus of public business requiring a closed session. The subject of the closed session is discussion and deliberation regarding several nuisance properties that are or may become the subject of litigation or the focus of public business. Subject is exempt under Wisconsin State Statute 1985 sub 1 sub E sub 1 sub G. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session. Motion to adjourn to closed session by Mr. Zimmerman. Second by both of those guys over there. I'll give it to Pat Mullen, though. Thank you both. And with that, let's vote. Thank you all. With that, we're adjourned to closed session.